Hello and welcome back to another one of my FBL videos, and in this video I'm going to be doing a wildcard team ahead of game week 8. Now I know lots of people are seriously considering wildcarding for this game week, myself included in that, and people are probably already have in fact already pressed the activate button on their wildcard. And I will say, if you are thinking about wildcarding, the best thing to do is activate it right away, because there's so many price changes already happening this game week. For example, like Matty Cash, Son, Rashford's gone down again. So there's a lot of changes. And all those players, of course, are highly owned. So I definitely recommend doing it as quickly as possible. So in this video, I will be doing two wildcard teams. The first one is the main one. This is the one that I'll be doing for my team if I do decide to activate the wildcard button, which won't be revealed until Wednesday's video with my team selection. But majority of those players, if I do wildcard, will be in the team. I think there's just 3 players that I'm not 100% confident on as of yet. And then the second team that I'm going to show you is going to be solely around because there's one player in my team that I'm not going to put, where I know 90% of people who are wildcarding putting them in. So I'm going to show you what it will look like if I do put them in as well, and show you what I have to do to get them in. So there will be a few changes, not a lot, but I will have to make a few. With that being said then, let's go through this team. So the goalkeepers of choice that I've gone for so far are Areola for West Ham. Now he's only 4.2 million, so he's still dirt cheap, and West Ham so far have been really good. Now, not going to lie, game week 8 is a tough fixture, Newcastle at home, and in game week 9 is no better, it's Aston Villa away, so I probably won't even use him until game week 10. But to be fair, West Ham have looked really good, so they could do pretty well in both of those fixtures. And like I said, he's 4.2 million. He's been a sensational season. West Ham have been great this season, so he's still an absolute bargain. And like I said, yes, the next 2 games are going to be tough for him, but game week 10, right all the way up to game week 18, is pretty decent for West Ham. So that's a good run of fixtures for him. So definitely want him in my goal so far. But there is another option in Johnson of Crystal Palace. He is another player who I have been looking at. He's 0.3 more than Areola. So that's why I'm tipping towards Areola more. He's playing for the better team and he is cheaper. But Johnson, he is in my thoughts as well as. And my backup keeper is still going to be Turner. He's 4 million still. He's bargain. He's number 1 goalkeeper still at Nottingham Forest. So I've not dropped him yet. So I'm going to keep him just because of that alone. There's nobody else that's 4 million that I want that starts. So those are the 2 goalkeepers that I'm fancying going for game week 8 in the wild card. So then onto my defenders now. So here it would be a 3 at the back if I do go with this team, because obviously 3 at the back is just the way to go. And starting off, Kieran Trippier. Now I've already got him in my team, so this is a player I will be keeping. Now, I know a lot of people either not putting him in their team or getting rid of him because they just think the fixtures aren't as good anymore. But yes, I know they just play Sheffield United and Burnley, 2 of the easier fixtures on the calendar. But I still think their fixtures coming up are pretty decent as well. Yes, West Ham's tough, but after that, Crystal Palace is a nice fixture. Wolves is a nice fixture. Yes, Arsenal's tough, but it's at home. And then Bournemouth away. So they've still got a good run of fixtures coming up. And I think they've got clean sheets to be had. And Trippier has been amazing the last couple of weeks. So obviously I'm going to be reluctant to sell him. So for sure I'm keeping him in my team. Matty Cash alongside him. Everyone's getting Matty Cash in. And you can see why. Because Aston Villa's fixtures coming up. Next 5 games are really good. They could easily win all 5 of these games. So for sure I'm going to want an Aston Villa defender there. And Matty Cash is the one to go for. I know Dini's had a good start. But Alex Moreno's going to be back sooner rather than later. So there's competition on that left side, whereas Matty Cash, he started every game. He's basically a shoe-in for that Villa defence, so for sure I want Matty Cash from wildcarding. And then the third one is Pedro Porro of Spurs. Now, a lot of people have been going through Doggy, and I get that. Not as many people have been going for Pedro Porro. Now, I know it might look knee-jerk because obviously he did get that assist against Liverpool. But still, the fixtures don't lie. I mean, fixtures, the next 3 anyway for Spurs are amazing. Luton, Fulham and Palace, right? It's a good set of fixtures. Now, if you compare him to Doggy, where everyone's got him now, well, I say everyone, he's much more highly owned than Pedro Porro, who Doggy is. Pedro Porro is more attacking. If you watch the games, he's definitely more attacking. The price difference is literally now just 0.2, so there's literally barely anything in it. And the ownership is huge. There's a big difference. So getting Porro could be a big differential. And I think one that's worth going for, really. So that's why I've got him in my team. On the bench, I've got Dan Burn, another Newcastle defender. So I had to take Botman out. What a waste he was in the end. Gets 12 points in the week I brought him in, but I leave him on the bench for that week. Second week, he's injured. He's out for a month. So I've decided to bring in Dan Burn. He's cheap. He's 4.5 million. Like I mentioned with Trippier, I kind of like the fixtures, to be fair. So I feel like I'm comfortable having him in my team because he's dirt cheap. Fixtures are good and he plays for a great team. Whether I'll play him every week is doubtful. Obviously, these are the three that I'll more than likely go for. So, yeah, Dan Burn, he's probably my least favourite defender, but he starts week in, week out for a top club. So, for sure, I feel like it's the sensible decision to go for. Obviously, Botman's injured. Shaw's 0.5 more expensive. I could go for Lascelles. I know people have been mentioning him because he is 3.9 million. He's dirt cheap compared. But the issue is, international football is coming up soon as well. So how long would you have Lascelles before Botman actually comes back? Would it be 2 game weeks? Would it be worth it then? I don't think it would. So Dan Burn, obviously he's a 100% starter for now. So that's why I've gone for him. And then finally I've gone for Gabriel of Arsenal, which I don't know if that's a surprise or not. But this guy, I mean, I felt like I had to have an Arsenal defender. I know next fixture is tough. It's Man City. Game week 9 is Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. Is that tough? I'm not quite sure because they can't score goals. So, and that's what you want. You want your defenders to play against teams that can't score goals. So, Chelsea away. Then it's Sheffield United at home, which is pretty much a clean sheet there. Newcastle's tough after that. Then Burnley, clean sheet pretty much there as well. So, I think there's clean sheets there for him. Arsenal top club, one of the title contenders. He's 4.7 million now, so he's dirt cheap. He's cheaper than Udogi now. So he's somebody I'm definitely considering putting him in because I think it could be easy win or easy points, should I say. He didn't start at the start of the season. That's why his price has dropped so much. But now Arteta's realised the experiment didn't work. He's gone back to the original back four. So I feel like this is easy points that be had here for such a cheap price. So that's why I've gone for Gabriel. So overall, pretty happy with that defence. If I look for the future on that defence, I think game week 13, I'll probably have to make changes. And obviously, Brighton, game week 10 onwards, their fixtures do change. So I might have to take a player out for, obviously, Estupiñán, who's been great this season. Obviously, the easy decision was to take Trippier out because of the price difference. But who knows by how much cash could go up. It could be the same price as Estupiñán if he goes down in price. So there is that, and obviously Pedro Porro is not that far off either. He's actually even more expensive at 5 million. So who knows? He could be the same price again as the Brighton defender. So there is that future transfer there for me to bring in a Brighton defender. So that's what I'm thinking if I go with that defence. So then onto my midfield then, and as you can see, the biggest talking point here is I don't have Mo Salah. I've decided not to go for him. So if I do wildcard, I'm 90% certain I won't have him in my team. I think he's too highly priced. It's too difficult to get him in and have a decent squad. I've decided to put the money around the team and make the squad better. So I'm opting out of Salah. Now, if I am to get Salah in my team, you want to really captain him. He's 12.6 million. You want him as your captain. And I think there's probably one game week I would, and that's game week 9 when he's got Everton at home. Apart from that, I wouldn't. Game week 11, he's got Luton away. But Man City have got Bournemouth home. So I would just captain Haaland. So I don't think it's worth it to have him just captain for 1 week at such a high price. Trying to get him in, like I said, is quite difficult. So I've opted. I feel like it's best not to have him in. Whereas the rest of my midfield, I think it's pretty decent, to be fair. So I've got Son. He's got a great set of fixtures coming up. He plays up front for, obviously, Spurs. Luton away is a great fixture as well for game week 8. So he's got a great run of fixtures. I think it goes up to game week 13 where I might start to worry. But yeah, apart from that, I mean, yeah, we've got Chelsea in game week 11. They're not exactly tough, are they? So great run of fixtures for Son. So for sure, I want him in my team. I've decided to keep Fernandez if I go through with this team. Yes, Brentford's a tough game, but Sheffield United is nice. Yes, Man City's tough, but then they've got 3 fixtures that are really nice for United. So I've decided to keep him and get rid of Rashford. I've lost faith in Rashford completely. So yeah, I wouldn't have Rashford in my team if I was to wildcard. And you can't have 2 Man United players in your midfield. It's not working out. So for sure, if I was to get rid of one, it's going to be Rashford. I've got Luis Diaz in there. Now, this is a gamble because he goes off quite a lot in games early, which is frustrating. But if you look ahead of game week 8, Jota's suspended. I mean, we don't know the Gakpo injury, whether he'll be out. So there is a good chance he'll play a good amount of minutes. And who knows, it could continue. I mean, it's doubtful. I think he'll still go off early. But the fact that he starts is a bonus. And I think with the fixtures, like I said, game week 9, Everton, I'll kind of fancy having a Liverpool play in there. So Diaz, he's gone down in price at 7.5 million. So he's a pretty decent price for a guy that does start for Liverpool, to be fair. It's just that he comes off early. So I've got Diaz there. Diaby, I mean, he did have a knock at the weekend. So this isn't a guarantee. We'll have to find out what that'll be. Obviously, this is if I follow through. But if I do have Diaby in my team, you'd have to wait till the deadline to decide to Everton whether or not to have him in your team, because who knows, if he is injured like the Botman situation, I wouldn't have him. But if I don't have him, God knows what I'll go for. Maybe a Gordon, maybe something like that, or maybe I'll look at another Aston Villa player. Like maybe I'll just gamble and go for Douglas Luiz. He's on penalties for Aston Villa, so it might be a worthy shout. But yeah, hopefully Diaby's fit, because that set of fixtures for Aston Villa is unbelievable. So I want Diaby in my team if I don't wildcard, but this is why I want a wildcard, because there's so many players that I want. So yeah, Diaby's in there, and then finally James Maddison, another Spurs midfielder. I mentioned the fixtures are good. Maddison, Son, it works beautifully. The manager's got this team running nicely. I don't want to miss out. I mean, this guy's going to keep going up in price, I think, as well, because he's just going it's going so well, should I say, for Maddison. Hopefully he doesn't get injured. So for sure, Maddison is somebody I really want on my team. So that midfield overall looks decent, to be fair. Obviously, Diaz is the one that's the weak point. So he is probably the weakest option that I've got here. So out of all the players, maybe he's the one that I'm not confident on. But yeah, on paper, it looks good. So yeah, I like that midfield. And finally, then onto my strikers. And what a shock, Erling Haaland's in the team. Of course, he scores against everybody. You'd be foolish to take him out. Now, I probably will take him out of my team when he goes in that Club World Cup for a few weeks, because obviously he's only gone up 0.1 million, so you don't really lose out much this season. So that's probably the only time I'll take him out of my team, because obviously the guy's a machine. So for sure, he's going to be in my team for now. And alongside him, I've got Ollie Watkins. Now, this is not knee-jerk reaction, I promise you. I did this team before game week 7 began. The only change I've really had to make is the Botman one, because obviously the injury was for a month, not just for a day. And obviously I think I made a couple. I can't exactly remember the rest. But Ollie Watkins was actually in my team because the fixtures. It had nothing to do with anything else. The fixtures from game week 8 onwards are unbelievable for Aston Villa. So nothing to do with that hat-trick he got. It was completely to do with game week 8 onwards. They're just great fixtures. So yeah, Ollie Watkins, I think he's probably the best striker pick to go for right now. I mean, if you're thinking about something different, Højlund's probably somebody who I was considering as well as, but he does have a couple of tough fixtures. Or if you want to go for somebody who's got 3 good fixtures coming up in a Bournemouth striker in Solanke, he might be a decent shout out to go for. But I'm going for obviously Ollie Watkins if I decide to wildcard, that is. But I will say game week 13 though will be a tough week, because Spurs play Aston Villa. That's 6 players, so that is going to be an issue. That's an issue for them if I do go through this team. But if you guys have not realised it, yeah, Spurs and Aston Villa play each other, so you might not want 6 players by then. So you might want to make a few changes by then. But Ollie Watkins for sure is going to be in my team, as well as if I don't wildcard, because obviously the fixtures look great. I need somebody I like. And obviously, finally, I've got Muniz, or whatever his name is, Fulham. Doesn't play. 4.4 million, I think he was. Yeah, he's just there for my bench. But anyway, that is the team that I'd have if I decide to wildcard. I might make a few changes to that if I was to. But that is my favourite team so far ahead of the game week 8. So then, like I said earlier, I was going to do a second team, and this team here is what it would look like with Mo Salah in. So, as you see, goalkeepers are still the same. The starting strikers are still the same. For the defence, obviously, I've still got Dan Burn and Matty Cash. I've got Udogi in instead of Pedro Porro, but I can actually afford Porro because I've got 0.3 million in the bank. But I want that money to stay in the bank because I'd probably need it to get Estupiñán in my team for game week 10. So that's my thinking on that. I've got Boutman on the bench. I mean, Brighton's fixtures on game week 10 are really good onwards. So if I can't get Estupiñán at that point, at least I have one defender that might be able to start. And then finally there, I got Norrington Davis, who's just a 3.9 million player, not going to play. He was dirt cheap, and it just made it easy for me to get certain players. Midfield wise, I mean, I've still got Son, Fernandes, Diaby. Instead of having Maddison, I've gone for Gordon. It's not bad, to be fair. Yes, he's obviously suspended for game week 8, but onwards he's going to be fine. So it's not a bad shout, that one, to be fair. It's really Gordon and Maddison. Who do you prefer? I prefer Maddison personally, but Gordon's not a bad shout, to be fair. And if Diaby is going to be out long term, Gordon wouldn't be a bad shout as a replacement. So, not too much of a change in midfield. And strikers, like I said, starting strikers the same. And I've got Archer on just because he's a starting striker, but I could stick with Muniz. So it's actually not too much of a change, to be fair. When you think about it, it's just, do I want Trippier, Gabriel, and Maddison, or do I want Mo Salah? That's the thing. And I don't know why, but I want those 3 players instead. So, I mean, it doesn't look too bad thinking about it. I'm changing my mind, but no, I think I would go without Salah. But to be fair, that team's not too bad, even with Salah in it. So, yeah, let me know what you think of these 2 teams. I preferred the first one, but let me know what you think. And hey, let me know what you guys are doing. Let me know if you think there's any players I'm missing out on. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all on the next one.